2 men shot, one fatally outside a busy grocery store.
Well, if I'd have been out there a minute earlier, I would have probably been sprayed too.
Police believe the man who died was targeted. The other was caught in the gunfire.
This person is a complete innocent victim.
Plus, the man at the center of a massive public data leak isn't cooperating with the investigation. So what happens now? And the province plans to tell the city where it can put its bike lanes.
There's cascading of negative effects when you actually take away and limit a driving lane.
The city says the province isn't seeing the bigger picture.
It bothers me.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Tara Nelson.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. An innocent bystander is in hospital tonight after a deadly targeted shooting last night. Bullets started flying at a Northeast grocery store parking lot, killing the intended target and sending members of the public running. Police say it is rare for innocent victims to be shot in these targeted attacks, but neighbors are on edge. Tyson Fedor reports.
One man well known to police is dead after he was shot at the North Hill Co-op parking lot just before 8 o'clock Monday night. A second man was caught in the crosshairs. He was taken to hospital with gunshot wounds in life-threatening condition. That man is now stable and recovering with family by his side.
He was not trying to intervene. He was not trying to assist. He was, caught in an ongoing active shooting, and he attempted to flee that area to safety.
The suspects are on the run as police look to track them down. The very public shooting with innocent grocery shoppers and nearby residents in the vicinity has angered the area councillor.
Anybody who may know who these perpetrators are, maybe harboring them, maybe working with them, or for that matter, you may be the kind of person who this is the kind of life you lead. Very clear, simple message for you. Get the out of our city.
Police say there are 2 gunmen, but would not provide a description of them or which way they went.
Go and turn yourself in today so the Calgary Police Service is not hunting you down for the rest of your miserable existence.
Investigators have identified the man who died as 35-year-old Leslie Babajid Cole. Witnesses describe Cole as leaning against a vehicle in a pool of blood.
I was in the store holding some groceries, and I heard the shots. The door opened. This guy came running in with a bleeding foot. And he's saying, I've been shot. And his foot's just bleeding all over.
One woman who works nearby says this is not common.
It is quite a shock because I've been working there for about a year now, and this is the first time I've ever heard of this happen here.
Despite an innocent person being shot, police say there's no threat to public safety.
I don't think that there's an ongoing threat that people have to be concerned with bullets flying throughout the city of Calgary. This is a targeted event.
Okay, Tyson joins us from that co-op tonight. Tyson, police need the public's help with this one.
Tara, they most certainly do, as this is a very public parking lot. Many people may have witnessed this shooting, but amidst all the chaos yesterday, may not have spoken with police just yet. There's a condo building here above the co-op, 17th Ave Northeast, right in front of me here is a residential area. A lot of these homes have doorbell cameras, CCTV cameras, and potentially some dash cam in this area. They're hoping to get some of that video to hopefully locate which way these suspects fled following that shooting just behind me last night. And at that point, police are saying if you have that information to come forward to them, or you can submit a tip anonymously through Crime Stoppers. Tara?
Okay, Tyson, thank you. The leader of the separatist group, the Centurion Project, is not cooperating with an investigation into the voters list leak, according to Elections Alberta. The agency says David Parker will not obey orders to stop using the list, and he could now be facing serious consequences. Tim Brooke has more.
David Parker is in hot water with Elections Alberta. Not only did his separatist group, the Centurion Project, access and share the electors list, but now the agency says he's not obeying a cease and desist related to that data leak.
I'm sure that there's going to be, quite extensive involvement from investigative lawyers, general counsel, looking to see what sorts of measures they can undertake to gain compliance.
The list Parker has contains the names and addresses of close to 3 million residents, Elections Alberta says 23 people were provided it and 545 others accessed it through the Centurion Project's online tool. Experts believe those who don't obey orders will likely face obstruction charges and potentially contempt of court penalties. That could involve fines, jail time, or both.
One of the, I guess, benefits of enforcement, of effective enforcement, is to send a message to other individuals who might contemplate doing something similar.
This isn't Parker's first run-in with Elections Alberta. Crown Debt Collection is already after him and his group Take Back Alberta over 11 unpaid fines, totaling almost $122,000. Just last month, Parker called the agency corrupt to the core, a den of evil, and a tool to suppress democracy. The Justice Minister isn't speaking to media. The one UCP MLA says her government trusts an ongoing RCMP investigation. It's unclear if Parker will comply with that.
We have said we will be looking forward to see what they bring forward so that we can get to the bottom of what happened there.
For now, Alberta's chief electoral officer believes the voter list should not be shared with any political parties until there are better privacy protections in place. The leak, just the latest thing on the agency's plate ahead of a busy autumn.
The volume of work is unprecedented. I used to drink from a garden hose, now I'm drinking from a fire hose.
And Tim joins us now with more. Tim, David Parker isn't speaking publicly about this matter right now.
No, Tara, he has not responded to multiple requests for comment from CTV News. He did last speak to media about 2 weeks ago. He sent everyone a statement essentially saying that he would be cooperating with this Elections Alberta investigation. So obviously he's changed his tone since then, and we do not know why. So we did not hear from Parker today. We did, however, hear from Cam Davies. Of course, Davies is the leader of the Republican Party of Alberta, another separatist group, and one that originally had the list of electors that made it to the Centurion Project. Tara, Davies told me this afternoon that his party will be cooperating with this Elections Alberta investigation.
Okay, Tim Burke reporting. Tim, thank you. Legislation is coming this fall to give the province more power over municipal bike lanes. Jacqueline Wilson is covering this one for us. So, Jackie, what is the province saying about this?
Tara, Alberta's transportation minister says that his government is going to help determine where cities can build bike lanes. Devin Durishan says that legislation coming this fall will require cities to study traffic impacts and then estimate how many people will use a bike lane before a new one can be built. It could also lead to existing lanes being torn out. However, Calgary's mayor says that he strongly supports a range of mobility options so Calgarians can choose how they want to get around.
I strongly support a range of mobility options for Calgarians. I want Calgarians to have that freedom to choose for themselves how to get around, whether that's biking or on transit, by bus, walking or driving.
As a provincial government, we have no qualms with bike lanes if they're put in proper places. So obviously shared use pathways or out through a parks network, that makes sense. But when you take away a driving range, a driving lane that has been designed for motorists, when you're taking that lane away, that has a whole bunch of cascading effects to people that live in that area.
Now, Mayor Farkas says that a meeting scheduled with Alberta's transportation minister was cancelled at the last minute, and there's been no response to his request to reschedule that. Again, Tara, that legislation is expected to be tabled in the fall.
Okay, Jackie, thank you.
You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
A wildfire is burning about 2 hours northwest of Edmonton tonight. Crews are trying to keep the out-of-control wildfire from moving closer to Whitecourt. One house has already been destroyed and more than 100 evacuees are waiting to find out when they can go home. Connor Hogg reports.
Alberta Fire says wind is a major factor right now, and it expects more wind shifts to come. A containment perimeter has been established around the wildfire to prevent it from growing any bigger. Despite that, people who live nearby say the situation is stressful.
It was quick. Some people only had 10 minutes to get out. Some people had half an hour.
Tammy Rivard owns a shop in Whitecourt. She says the last 24 hours have been crazy. Her mother lives in the evacuation zone about 3 kilometers outside of town. She organized a group to help her mother leave.
Get her most important vehicles out and just her personal belongings like photos and some certain photos off the wall. And that's really all that she took.
Smoke in the air over the fire was visible in Whitecourt yesterday. Today, while the cloud is gone, officials say the fire is still burning out of control.
We have established a good chunk of perimeter around the fire. However, there's still lots of work that needs to be done, and air tankers will support as needed. However, the conditions today are a little bit better due to lower wind speeds compared to yesterday.
At 1 p.m., the fire was moving slightly west towards a full containment line protecting the town. Alberta Fire says things could always change, sympathizing with the situation the people of Whitecourt are in.
I think they feel a lot better now that they don't see a large column of smoke at the moment, but just be prepared that that could change at any moment.
We're just going to hope. They've brought in a lot of help. So we're just going to put everything in their hands.
Alberta Fire is encouraging evacuees to visit the Alan and Jean Millar Centre in Whitecourt, where they can check in and also receive vouchers. In Whitecourt, Connor Hogg, CTV News.
In Calgary, a fire that started in a garage spread quickly last night and one home was badly damaged. Fortunately, everyone got out, but now they have to find another place to live. Moses Woldu has the details.
From the front, the 200 block of Silverado Drive looks like any other street in Calgary. But behind the gate, remnants of a detached garage sitting in a pile of rubble following a fire around midnight Tuesday.
The next arriving crews went in directly to the alleyway. The crews stretched multiple hose lines, and we had encountered multiple garages in the alley side on fire.
Quickly spreading on either side through the back alley, prompting a second alarm to be called. A small army of firefighters responded.
First alarm is typically for that initial home that's on fire. And as soon as that spreads to multiple or we have reports of that, that's when we're going to escalate and get more firefighters on scene.
Neighbors we spoke to shared their account of the fire in the early hours Tuesday.
Started off with some loud bangs, like sounded like a car accident maybe, and then just kept repeating loud explosion noises.
I was shaking and my heart beat so fast. I couldn't even get back to the bed, like to sleep last night until this 5 o'clock in the morning.
A total of 6 homes received minor to severe damage. Alex Cambe lives right across the alley from where the initial fire started. The damage to his garage was limited.
Yeah, this is just it's a big relief actually. And this is just a damage. We can rebuild this one just in case. But my most concern is like our lives, right? We have to keep ourselves safe.
The family where the fire initially started would not speak on camera, but did tell CTV that they quickly alerted their neighbors and got them out safely. The fire department says everyone except one household were able to return home. Moses Woldu, CTV News, Calgary.
The Calgary Fire Department says the cause of the fire is still under investigation. Well, let's bring Danielle in now. We're getting a lot of rain coming our way.
We are. Much needed rainfall, as you've just talked about, with all the wildfire risk. And a lot of that rain will be falling on long weekend, along with a massive temperature drop. We'll talk about that a little later. But for now, we're sitting at 22 degrees. Today was stunning. Lots of sunshine, calm winds in the 20s. We will not have a day like this for the rest of the week. We'll still hold on to some warmth for tomorrow, as you can see, with a high of 23. We'll have a lot more cloud cover tomorrow. And later in the day, the winds will start to get quite gusty, up to 50 kilometers per hour. That's just the beginning. We'll talk more about that coming up, Tara.
It is Census deadline day in Canada. Why some Canadians are refusing to complete the survey, plus the penalties for not participating. And shocking details from court where a woman is accused of criminal negligence causing death after her dogs killed a child at her home. Breaking news, a child was rushed to hospital late this afternoon after being hit by a truck. Police say the child was riding a scooter and suffered serious injuries. It happened on Terra Cove Road Northeast just before 5 o'clock. Police closed that intersection to investigate. AMS says the child was taken to Alberta Children's Hospital in serious but stable, non-life-threatening condition. This was day 2 of a trial for a woman accused in the death of an 11-year-old boy killed by her dogs. Court in Edmonton heard more stories about the dog's violent history, including an attack on another person and on a small dog. Nicole Weisberg reports.
46-year-old Crystal McDonald is on trial facing a charge of criminal negligence causing death as the keeper of the dogs that killed 11-year-old Cash Grist. The attack happened 2 years ago, and court heard in the months prior there were others. A man whose ex-wife was friends with the accused said McDonald's 2 cane Corsos killed his 10-pound Pomeranian. He said his dog Roan slipped out of his makeshift enclosure while McDonald's dogs were visiting. Court heard the dogs were tied up and Roan excitedly ran towards them. Dale Hess testified one got on one side of him and then the other grabbed the other side of him, so it was a tug-of-war with the dog. Hess called the attack traumatizing, said Roan died, and he was left with an $8,000 vet bill. One of McDonald's neighbors also testified and said his family couldn't use their backyard because the dogs were so loud and threatening. He said they would charge their shared fence and try to dig underneath it. He said he tried to talk to McDonald about it a few times, but she swore at him and told him to mind his business. He put up cameras in his yard to gather evidence of the dog's behavior. One of them captured an attack in McDonald's backyard. She wasn't home at the time. Raymond Grumbach testified he and 2 friends were waiting for her to arrive. One friend started playing with the dogs in the backyard when she fell. Court saw video showing both dogs quickly run over, then screams. "They're biting me," she yelled. Grumbach helped restrain one of the dogs and said the friend was driven to the hospital with several bite marks. The defense told the judge in his submissions he plans to argue these past incidents are not relevant to the one involving Cash Grist. That will happen after we hear from all of the Crown's witnesses. Reporting from the law courts, Nicole Weisberg, CTV News.
Edmonton police are sharing video of a robbery at a jewelry store. It happened last month when 4 people smashed display cases and got away with valuables. Police say they were in and out in less than a minute. In Lethbridge, a 20-year-old man has been charged with impersonating a police officer. It comes after a traffic stop by what appeared to be an officer in a police vehicle. It had lights and sirens and antennas on the roof. There were also bars on blacked-out rear passenger windows. Will Nicholas Waddell has been charged.
This is CTV News, Calgary.
New polling suggests Canadians are shifting their attitudes toward climate change, the economy, and pipeline development. As Kevin Green reports, at the same time, Albertans are shifting their opinion of the federal government.
Canadians' sense of urgency dealing with climate change has shifted dramatically, according to polling done by Angus Reid. Just 5 years ago, almost 30% of Canadians ranked climate change as the top issue. Now that's fallen to just 15%, with 61% now prioritizing economic growth.
There's a lot of Canadians are really struggling with things like groceries, with their rent, with their mortgage, and all those different factors that make up day-to-day life.
Those sentiments mirrored on the streets of Calgary.
Yeah, I gotta live for the next year, and then I'll think about, the next 15, 20 years, I think, is my opinion, as well as a lot of my friends.
Cost of living's gone up so much. Or climate change, you don't see it on a daily basis.
Everyone's just trying to make ends meet. If everyone could make ends meet, then climate change could be a bigger priority.
Environmental Defence argues the polling does not mean Canadians have stopped caring about climate change.
So the majority of people 18 to 24 far support protecting our environment over economic growth.
At the same time, Albertans are warming up to the way the feds are handling the pipeline file. In 2019, 83% disapproved, saying Ottawa wasn't doing enough. Today, that's dropped to 64%. Still not an endorsement, but a strong trend towards approval.
So I think that does speak to perhaps Mark Carney and the Liberals' policies on this. They feel like there has been some good progress made.
That's even echoed by Danielle Smith. Monday, the Premier hinted a pipeline deal is imminent.
It's why I've worked very hard with the Prime Minister on landing an MOU, which I hope we're going to be able to announce very soon.
And that's bumped up Albertans' view of Prime Minister Carney.
His approval among Albertans is close to Danielle Smith's number overall in the province, which is not something you would expect from a Liberal Prime Minister.
Though pollsters say that support is soft and could disappear if a pipeline deal doesn't come soon. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
The Angus Reid Institute conducted the online survey between April 24th and 28th among 2,360 Canadian adults. The margin of error is plus or minus 2 percentage points, 19 times out of 20. All right, let's bring Danielle back in. We had a beautiful day today, but things are taking a shift.
Yeah. So this was a one-day, beautiful, sunny warm-up that we've had. We'll still hold on to a little warmth tomorrow, but definitely not these conditions, unfortunately. Now, we do need the rainfall. Do we need it all to be falling on your long weekend and a huge drop in temperature? No. But this is what tends to happen for May long for us. All right, 22 degrees was the high in Calgary today. Also the current temperature, and it's in the mid-20s. So Drumheller, Brooks, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge at 25 degrees right now. So certainly a toasty temperature day. Winds calm today. We talked about getting up to 40 kilometer per hour gusts, and Lethbridge certainly saw that today, but everywhere else in those 30s for the most part, or at least close to it. So calm winds today. We're going to get some very gusty conditions coming up here soon. So just a heads up, these are the areas under a statement, a weather statement right now. This statement is all-encompassing off into Saskatchewan, northern Alberta as well. Saskatchewan's going to see some snowfall. Northern Alberta sees some snowfall. We'll get some heavy rain in some localized areas in the coming days from the system, but the number one thing to look at is Thursday, very gusty conditions in these areas. So Coronation, Drumheller, just to basically the east of Calgary, Strathmore, over to Brooks and Medicine Hat is where we could get gusts up to 100 kilometers per hour on Thursday. Outside of that statement, so Calgary, for example, in areas just to the south of Calgary, 70 kilometer per hour gusts on Thursday. So it will be a windy one for sure, and certainly not as warm as today. All right, so we have a system that's approaching, so there's nothing to talk about for tonight. I'm just going to advance this. For tomorrow, though, ahead of that system, the clouds will increase in the morning hours. I'm going to pause this quite a bit here than normally, more than I usually do, because there's a lot to talk about. Brooks down through Lethbridge down to Coots is where in the overnight hours or late Wednesday, we'll start to pick up some rainfall. Not too heavy, but some rainfall. We have a couple heavy pockets in the far southeast corner possible in those overnight areas. We could pick up 10 millimeters in the far southeast corner in just a short amount of time. And then it will impact Calgary, but mainly in the overnight hours into early Thursday morning. And then it will start to shift off. So it should be out of Calgary Thursday morning and then off to the east. But it will be a good amount of rainfall, up to 10 millimeters in most communities for areas in the southeast, which is where we need it most. That's system number one. So again, a high of 23 tomorrow. Tomorrow night, 2 to 4 millimeters of rain in the city. Stable for Thursday, other than very gusty conditions, 70 kilometers per hour. On Friday, just a high of 14. And then by Friday night, 5 millimeters of rain. On Saturday, another 5 millimeters of rain. That will carry into Sunday as well. Check out those temperatures for Saturday and Sunday. Just highs around 7 and 8 and overnight lows around that freezing mark. That's your Action Furnace 5-day forecast.
By day's end, you should have filled out your census form. It helps the government with planning and understanding the makeup of our country. But this year, some are using the survey as a form of protest and refusing to complete it. Here's CTV's Heather Wright.
During the last census in 2021, roughly 98% of Canadians filled out the survey, a vital tool according to Statistics Canada that helps governments make informed decisions.
I do feel betrayed by the government.
But some are choosing not to fill out this year's census as a way to protest the Carney government in the series of floor crossings that helped the Liberals secure a majority government last month.
We voted for a minority government. We didn't vote for a majority government. Why can't we have a say?
While Canadians have been asked to fill out the census by today, it's not technically a deadline. If people don't fill it out, they could receive follow-up phone calls or in-person visits until it is completed, which is required by law. Those who refuse could receive a fine of up to $500.
It's a key part of our democracy, but it's also fundamental for the basic services the government provides. You're going to want to know where the population lives if you're going to place a school, a hospital, a fire station, a police station. If you're planning transit routes, you need to know where people live and where they work.
Jeff Balby is the Assistant Chief Statistician for Statistics Canada and says all data collected is de-identified and securely kept within the organization.
We are absolutely required under law to keep all of the data that we collect here at StatCan within the walls of Statistics Canada so we can guarantee the privacy and confidentiality.
Statistics Canada says it is still too early to know how many people have refused the census, but they say according to preliminary numbers, the response rate this year is comparable to in the past. Heather Wright, CTV News, Brampton, Ontario.
As it warms up, you've likely noticed more motorcyclists on Calgary roads. Police are urging everyone to ease off the gas, whether you're on 2 wheels or 4. A road safety crackdown is next. And later, a Calgary Robotics team is being recognized for the impact it's having in its community. We'll explain. Calgary police say the spring weather means more speeders and stunting on city roads. They're cracking down on illegal car meets and on motorcyclists who are going far too fast. And those who are teaching new riders say speed continues to be the biggest danger. Here's Jordan Canigan.
The helmets are on and the engine starts as new motorcyclists learn to ride before hitting the road.
Somebody that's never been on a bike before, you need to know how to be safe. And so one of those things is learning how to ride the bike so you don't have to think about riding the bike.
With warmer temperatures returning to Calgary, so too do the warnings about the dangers of speeding.
It turns into some sort of, almost like an ego thing. Instead of just enjoying the ride, it's like, how can I go faster or louder or do this and show off? And in the end, if someone gets hurt or unfortunately killed.
Calgary police are urging people to slow down after 3 serious motorcycle crashes in the last 2 weeks.
Speed and the driving habits of those motorcyclists certainly have a factor involved in those collisions. So I want to remind people when they're out there on their motorcycles that you are riding safely, riding within the speed, riding unimpaired.
Road safety overall is again a concern in the city. There have been 10 fatal crashes on roads in Calgary this year and another 5 deadly pedestrian collisions so far.
That unfortunately puts us in an unenviable position of being actually ahead of the curve from last year, which was a record fatal collision. So that is not something that we want to see.
Officers are also stepping up enforcement at illegal car meets in Calgary. Police have issued 157 tickets related to stunting and speeding at events over the last 2 weekends. Jordan Canigan, CTV News, Calgary.
Police also highlighted 2 recent speeding incidents involving young people. A 19-year-old driver was caught going 137 kilometers an hour in a 50 zone. A 20-year-old was found doing 126 kilometers in a 50 zone. Still to come on CTV News, a dog with a very important job. He knows when it's his time to shine, and he is a fan favorite at the ballpark. Our trending videos are next. Three Alberta First Robotics teams are back from the World Championships in Houston, Texas last week. Calgary's team, Sparkins 9277 from the STEM Innovation Academy, were honored to place as a finalist in the First Robotics Impact Award. It recognizes teams who are making a difference in their community. Here's Kevin Fleming.
It's the first time the Sparkins 9277 have made it to the First Robotics World Championship, and the students have a banner to celebrate their trip to Houston, Texas, after being named one of the 6 finalists for the Impact Award.
Thousands of teams apply for it every year, and then one team wins it at every district or regional. And then those teams that win it get to go to Worlds, which we got to do. And then at Worlds, there's 6 finalists out of about 83 teams, and then one who wins the full impact.
The team had to write an essay and produce a short video about the Sparkins' involvement in the community. Henek Seifa narrated the video, highlighting some of the activities the team participated in.
There are hours that many students put into these outreach events and impact initiatives that actually led us to winning those awards. And when we got those trophies and banners, it really just said to us, what you're doing is right and you should keep running with it.
The Impact Award is about all of the outreach that the students do. So it involves many different things. Some of it is STEM outreach, some of it is robotics outreach, so students going into the community and actually getting students involved in robotics and showing them what can be done in terms of coding.
Lachlan Paula says the robot had to collect balls and shoot them into a target, competing against other teams' robots in real time.
The robot did pretty well.
We used a lot of new technologies that we hadn't used before, especially with like vision and localization and how the robot sees and detects where it is on the field. And the software this year was much more advanced than previous years.
The team says it's an honor to be recognized and is the first Alberta team to reach the Impact Award finals. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Calgary.
Crowsnest Pass RCMP responded to an unusual theft call yesterday. Right around the dinner time, officers received a report about the theft of barbecue items. The suspect was described as having red hair, short in stature, and wearing a thick coat. Police found their suspect. He was trying to conceal the evidence. The victims chose not to lay charges, so the perp was free to go. With
food and all.
Yummy hot dog snack. Yeah. Well, it's baseball season, and you will be delighted to see who fetches the bats for this minor league club every time a player gets on base.
Go get it.
She is a big star here. Every time she goes out, especially the first time of the night, she gets a huge cheer from our fans.
Go get it.
Omaha is actually the biggest star on the single-A affiliate team in the San Diego Padres organization. She's beloved by fans. They also claim she's the only bat dog for a pro baseball team on the U.S. West Coast. Even better, after most games, she also does a meet and greet with fans. She poses for pictures. She shakes a paw with anyone who asks.
Yeah.
She's basically like 50% of the reason people go to the games, probably.
Best of all, works for food.
Yes.
All you need is
yes.
food.
Hot dogs.
Yeah. Well, you need a lot of energy for a job like that, so maybe this pup is deciding to try out. Wow. That is speed. Don't blink or you'll miss her. Versace's a collie. Got a little bit of a jolt. Apparently took a sip of her mom's coffee, and they say this caffeinated canine apparently raced around the neighborhood all night before finally passing out.
Not let your dog have caffeine.
Do not let your dog have your coffee. No.
Look how
No.
fast, though.
Well, that kind of energy isn't only caffeine fueled. It also comes with youth.
Oh my God! Pretty little baby,
That is a baby dolphin putting on a show there. Experts think this common dolphin is only about a week old, but it's already jumping right into its life in the waters of New South Wales, Australia.
How cool would that be to see?
Can you imagine?
Right?
I've never seen that before.
No, I've never
It's
seen
so
a little
cute.
dolphin. That little dude is very cute. That's why they're squealing. Well, U.S. companies demanded refunds after Donald Trump's tariffs were shot down. Some of that money is now being returned. We've got those details ahead in our business report.
All right, Skywatch weather camera. We had some clouds increase late in the day today, but we had a stunning day. We got up to 22 degrees. Normal is 16. In fact, we're still sitting at 22 degrees. So very nice evening for a walk. The winds were pretty calm today, just in those 30s. So basically a perfect day today for outdoor weather. Brooks, Drumheller, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge got to 25, currently still sitting at 25. And there's a look at the winds today. So calm today, relatively calm, just around that 30 kilometer per hour mark in Calgary. But it will start to pick up tomorrow. So late day tomorrow, 50 kilometer per hour gusts, and by Thursday in Calgary, 70 kilometer per hour gusts, and to the east of the city, 100 kilometer per hour gusts possible, which is why the statement is in place. So Thursday will be a very windy day for southern and central Alberta because of the system that's moving in. So quiet tonight for the rest of tonight. For the next 24 hours, kicking off the day at 8. We will still have the warmth tomorrow, but we won't have the stunning conditions. So the clouds will increase throughout the day, mainly cloudy tomorrow. And then by later in the afternoon, gusts picking up to about 50 kilometers per hour. That was your 24-hour forecast brought to you by Action Furnace. Fix right where it's free. All right, showers starting to build into Golden, Salmon Arm, Kelowna and Fernie for tomorrow. Edmonton, 24 degrees and mainly cloudy. Rocky Mountain has chance of a late day thunderstorm, and that same idea for Jasper down to Banff. The winds will start to pick up later in the day, especially to the south where you're looking at 60 kilometer per hour gusts. And then again by Thursday, very, very gusty. Tara?
Thank you, Danielle. Police say an innocent bystander was shot last night when bullets started flying in a grocery store parking lot. That person survived, but the intended target, a 35-year-old man, died. It happened at the North Hill Co-op. Elections Alberta says the man at the center of a massive public data leak is not cooperating with its investigation. It says David Parker is not obeying orders to stop using the voter list. And legislation is coming this fall to give the province more power over municipal bike lanes. But Mayor Jeremy Farkas says he strongly supports a range of options for Calgarians to get around the city. The federal government is putting another $10 million toward Alberta projects focused on national defense. The money is going to 6 businesses working on everything from drones to virtual mission planning. This is one of several recent funding announcements geared towards small and medium-sized companies working on defense projects. One of the funding recipients says this will help them get their technology noticed alongside bigger firms.
This kind of funding is really critical to enabling those companies to make the investments they need to build the technologies to get to that point of revenue generation. So fundamentally, this is that leverage point, that crystallization or catalytic moment that allows us to actually get to the point where our technologies can be deployed.
This is part of a national $280 million initiative to support regional businesses across Canada over 3 years. Students at Calgary's Father Lacombe High School took their futures into their own hands today. A group of grade 12 students decided to throw their own career fair with the help of their teacher. They reached out to various industries. 33 professionals in everything from healthcare to the arts accepted the invite to come and set up a booth in the gym so they could tell students about their careers one-on-one.
With the stuff happening with how hard it is to get a job these days, I think it is beneficial that we get to learn about what the different careers in the future and how we can build ourselves to achieve a goal.
The project was done as part of the students' social studies class. Great idea. The U.S. Customs Agency has started issuing tariff refunds. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has more.
We have the first tally of refunds for American tariffs. The U.S. Customs Agency says it's processed refunds plus interest totaling over $35 billion so far. When the U.S. Supreme Court deemed the U.S. president's tariffs illegal in February, exporters and retailers lined up to get their money back. It's estimated Walmart alone is owed over $10 billion. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 73. West Texas Intermediate is up over $4 to 102.37. Western Canadian Select up over $2 to 77.82. And the TSX gained 151 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
A week after a cyber attack struck a program used by universities around the world, including the U of A, the company behind the online learning system, called Canvas, says it struck a deal with the hackers. The parent company Infrastructure says it reached an agreement with the unauthorized actor. No details on the deal were provided, including whether it involved payment or who was behind the attack, but the stolen data was apparently returned. A hacking group named Shiny Hunters claimed responsibility for the breach. Preseason begins next week for the Calgary Stampeders, and Jaden Grant is looking forward to improving on a strong rookie season. Glenn has that story for us next. Tim Hortons is about to face some steep competition as Dunkin's announces a Canadian comeback. The U.S. coffee chain has signed a deal with Foodtastic, the restaurant group behind chains like Second Cup and Freshie. Dunkin' will first expand to Quebec and Ontario before heading west in 2027 or early 2028. The Canmore Eagles wrapped up preliminary round action at the Centennial Cup today. Glenn is back with us, and Glenn, it's been a nice run for the Eagles so far in PEI.
Tara, the Eagles undefeated 3-0 so far in Pool A, and they have already clinched a playoff spot. This afternoon, they took on the Niverville Nighthawks of the Manitoba Junior Hockey League. Not the start the Eagles were hoping for in this game, just 3:47 in. Hayden Wedden gets it over to Adam Vigfusen. He will beat Alexander Schweiler. The Nighthawks up 1-0. Eagles get that back late in the first. They're on the power play. Will Ludick over to Ryder Dembo. He beats Austin Dubinsky. Ties the game at 1. Second period, Nighthawks up 3-1 when Vigfusen completes a hat trick with a power play goal. What a game he had, 4-1 at that point. The Eagles refuse to go down without a fight. Third period, they score 4-2. Aiden Kachuk will beat Dubinsky with the second of the game. All of a sudden, it's 4-3, but Cole Mears, he would restore a 2-goal lead just a couple minutes after that. He beats Schweiler to give the Nighthawks a 5-3 lead. They go on to win this one 6-4, so that means the Nighthawks clinch first in that group. to get into the semifinals. The Eagles, they have to settle for second in that group, so they'll play in the quarterfinals on Friday. Calgary Stampeders open up the preseason Monday. Stamps will take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders and expect to see veterans like Jaden Grant get into action in the first quarter.
Brown's going to throw in his direction. It's taken away. Intercepted by Jaden Grant.
Jaden Grant had a steady rookie season for the Calgary Stampeders. The 27-year-old defensive back finished the year with 35 defensive tackles and 3 interceptions. And he says he learned a lot from his first season in the CFL.
You learn so much. You know, it takes a while to get adjusted to the CFL game up here and all the, unique ways that the game is played. So it definitely took me probably half the year to really get adjusted, and the second half of the year to really get comfortable and feel like myself and play above the neck football.
And is that taken away? Jalen Grant!
The CFL is a long season, and Grant had a bit of a lull because he wasn't used to it. Dave Dickinson wants all of his rookies from last year to take a step forward in season 2.
He got his body right. If you look at him, he's stronger, leaner, he just looks good, understanding what it takes to try to get a full season. And then I do feel like his voice is stronger. I think out there you can tell he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's now leading the guys. And you can't be a leader as a rookie, it's too hard. But I do feel like he's really upped his game.
Being a leader and using his voice is something Grant will be more comfortable with in year 2.
I mean, the way I was taught ball was like, the better that you can teach it, the better you know it. So it's always been kind of each one teach one. Once I really understood it, and once I had a deeper understanding of the scheme, I feel like it's my responsibility as a guy that can see it all, from the position that I play, to better help, the guys around me be in a good position to make plays, or just for the overall the defense to have success. So
Grant also had some big changes in the offseason. He got married to his wife, Dalen, in February.
It's just such a blessing to be able to, find your person and then, be married. And so we just thank God every day. And she'll be up here in June, so I can't wait for that. But it really does just allow me to focus on football, and really I'm just so thankful because she allows me to chase it so passionately.
Here's another cool part of the story. Dalen's the daughter of former NFL defensive back Anthony Newman. Lots of football in that family.
Lots of football in the family, for sure, yeah. And game Monday, Danielle, so it could be in the rain.
Yeah, it's an interesting long weekend for us. But when is May long weekend not interesting?
Good point.
Yeah, 23 tomorrow, but not the conditions we had today. Mainly cloudy for tomorrow. Tomorrow night is when some rain kicks in, 2 to 4 millimeters possible in the city. Then Thursday, very windy, 70 kilometer per hour gusts, and to the east of the city, 100 kilometer per hour gusts possible. Friday, fairly quiet for the day, just a high in the teens. It's Friday night in through Saturday, and then Sunday morning that we're looking at a significant rainfall. And as you can see, temperatures cooling quite a bit. Daytime highs will be in the single digits by Saturday. All right, weather window brought to you by Lux Windows and Doors, crafting quality windows and doors for your style, budget, Alberta's climate. John McMahon sent this one in from Canyon Meadows, crabapple trees, stunning time.
Thanks for your company tonight. Have a terrific evening. We'll see you again tomorrow.